Welcome to Resource Thursday with SplashTop. I'm your host, Rick Smith. This is the place to learn how to run your IT service business. Whether you're a one-person shop or a bigger house leading the team for the journey, this is the place for you. My co-host, Paco Lebron, is out today. He's actually attending the ASCII conference in Chicago, but I'm sure when he gets back, he'll have some more learnings to share with us, and we'll be glad to hear from that. I want to welcome my guest, Justin Windsor. He's the channel chief at SplashTop. Justin, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, and welcome. Before we get started with Justin and learn about what's going on at SplashTop, we have to give a quick shout out to our upcoming event, TechCon Unplugged. TechCon Unplugged is September 16th to the 18th at the Hilton Rosemont Hotel in Chicago, O'Hare. There you will learn from like-minded business owners in panels and breakout sessions, gain key takeaways from partners in the vendor space. And my favorite part, you get to experience that one-on-one or those spontaneous group conversations where, as Paco likes to say, the magic happens. Tickets are $2.99. It can be purchased at techconunplugged.com. Although for those Patreon members, we did drop a little note for you with a little surprise to award you for your continued support. So please take a look at the message in the Facebook group for that. But we look forward to seeing you all there. Your tickets, again, are available at techconunplugged.com. Okay. So Justin, once again, I want to say thank you for joining us today. I'm going to ask you to give us a little background about yourself and then how you came to SplashTop.
Yeah, no, excellent. Thanks. Appreciate it for sure. Channel chief here at SplashTop. I run all of our channel business. So we have a channel program for a variety of different partners to include MSPs. Prior to SplashTop, I was on the channel side at an organization called Zadara, which provides compute and storage as a service. Prior to that, I was with a private cloud company. And then prior to that, I was with a reseller, Alliance Technology Group, based in Hanover, Maryland. And then prior to that, becoming in IT now for the last 16 years, actually was an elementary school teacher, right? So my journey to IT was not a deliberate one, but definitely been doing it for a while and enjoy what I do.
Wow, that's cool. Wow. So tell us what's going on over now at SplashTop.
Sure. So the thing with SplashTop, I think, we are in this moment. We're not that household name, right? We are not Nutanix, Pure, Palo Alto, Silence, Snowflake. But I think when you kind of dig into who we are, what we do, we've got a very good story to tell, right? So SplashTop, we were formed in 2011. Actually, four guys met in MIT and started SplashTop. So really smart guys. We're headquartered in Cupertino, California. So right down the street from Apple. And really how we're helping customers as we work through the channel with VARs, MSPs, et cetera, is really in three key areas, most notably remote work, right? And I think we all can kind of agree that going back the way business was done, 3-4 years ago, waking up Monday through Friday, driving to and from the office, we're not going back to that 5 days a week. So there always is going to be this need for remote work, hybrid work. And that really lends itself to where we see a lot of traction is providing remote access solutions and remote support solutions. Just some quick stats to kind of legitimize who we are at SplashTop. We have the highest NPS score of 93% in the market. We have 85% of Fortune 500 companies globally actually use SplashTop. And again, despite not being that household name, we've already received a unicorn status for a $1 billion evaluation of our company.
Wow. Sounds good. Well, I think in this community, I know you guys are pretty popular. A lot of us know you, familiar. A lot of us are using your product either through, through our RMM scenario or purchase it individually. So, how's your channel program? I know you have a program for MSPs, correct?
Correct. Yep, for sure.
Okay. And how does that work? I'm sorry, just give us a little background on that.
Yeah, no. So we have a very nice channel program. So from an MSP perspective, right now we've set up where you can join us as an authorized SplashTop MSP, which gives our MSPs a discounted rate to sell the full portfolio of SplashTop solutions, to include some popular things out there probably in the market with some of the customers or MSPs on the line now in such products as SOS and Business Access. We also have a new enterprise platform, which really does meet the needs of these higher, mid-market, to include obviously enterprise solution set customers. And it's pretty simple. I come from being on the other side of the table for a very long time. And really my goal in starting and building the channel from the ground up last year in 2021 is I want to make doing business with SplashTop as easy as possible. And to your point, Rick, yeah, we do work with tons of RMs in the marketplace, Datto, Navarisk, Ninja, Avanti. But we also have a very nice program kind of outside of that here at SplashTop.
Okay, sounds good. Now, I know remote access, remote support has become, even more, since the pandemic hit. I was discussing this prior. It has become a much more called upon, relied upon solution now than it ever has in the past. I think for some of us, we probably, particularly just remote access, we probably took it a little bit more we took it for granted. But since the pandemic and the changing in the work environment, you guys, you're in a great space to be in right now.
Yeah, I full disclosure, April 21st, 2021, if you said SplashTop, I'd have no idea who they are. If you said they made surfboards, I would have said, okay, no clue, right? I come from a storage backup disaster recovery cloud space for a number of years. But I think if you really take SplashTop out of it, if you really just take a look at the market, right? We all can agree hybrid work is here to stay. Great. Well, here's the thing. And you and I, Rick, were talking about this earlier. I fully expect, and as I talk to you guys and girls from my house here in North Carolina, I fully expect my experience in my house in North Carolina to be exactly the same if I was sitting in my office in Cupertino, California. I fully expect that. And guess what? So does every other end user. So it's up to IT. It's up to those MSPs to provide that seamless experience, that user experience, right? But also with security that IT can actually trust. So the beautiful thing about SplashTop is we create that bridge. We create that, I think bridge is good. We create that bridge, right? That wherever you are, whether you're sitting at your home in North Carolina, whether you're in a Starbucks coffee shop, whether you're on a beach in Mexico, I can access anything corporate from any device. So we can go from PC to Mac to Chromebook, Android, iPhone, again, totally relevant, totally agnostic. Now, IT support can do the exact same thing. Interestingly enough, I was at a education conference in Florida last week of January, met a gentleman who was CIO basically of a very small school district in the Southeast. And I asked him, I was like, how do you handle all these kids' Chromebooks? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, did the county actually give you Chromebooks that you have to help manage? He goes, yep. I go, well, what happens if a kid has an issue? He goes, I don't know. I just buy a new one. And I said, I don't know if that's the best strategy. Because here's the thing, he as the internal, think of it this way, the internal MSP had no tool. And you know why? He's sitting in his house, as all these IT support people are, sitting in his house, being the remote help desk, right? But he has a PC. They have a Chromebook. He has no tool to bridge that gap. Now with SplashTop, he has the ability to do that.
Wow, no, that's good. I the other thing we talk about in the usage, and when everyone went to the transition to work from home, one of the other big concerns was security, setting up VPN, setting up, going through the process of teaching employees how to use VPNs to get into the network. And, how do you guys, how do you solve that issue?
No, 100%. So again, we are very about the user experience here at SplashTop. And again, our 93% NPS score, I think, really reflects that. We have customers, tons of household names, to include Harvard University, UCLA, Best Buy, CVS. I just was in Disney World for spring break last week with my son, Liam. Every single point of sale machine runs SplashTop at Disney World, which is also awesome. And I'm going to plug that because it's awesome. But we really understand that users sometimes may be the next, and they need, again, we talked about it, they need an easy experience. So from a SplashTop user perspective, we have an agent, which we call a streamer. They simply click that streamer, and now they have access as permitted by said organization. And then the second point, Rick, follow up from a security perspective, we really built this from the ground up with security in mind, because when we started this company in 2011, it really was, again, remote access. Now it has definitely advanced, especially since, March of 2020, but we already have built-in encryption, 256 encryption. We have a dual threat authentication. We have SSO compliance. We have Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, you name it. So from a security perspective, it goes back to the earlier point. We truly understand in this age where ransomware is not going away, these bad actors, the comment crew from China, so on and so forth, it's not going away. I really also truly believe from a security perspective, SplashTop can be part of an organization's strategy that the MSP can help with to say, hey, as an MSP, I know I have to keep my customers' network and devices running smoothly. And B, I have to respond to issues as soon as humanly possible. I think SplashTop in that comment, in that arena, in that vertical can be a great thing from a security perspective to say, hey, again, it does not matter. This is a highly secure solution. That's one of our key benefits over some of our competition in the market, that whether that person is going in through a VPN or going in through a, Starbucks coffee shop, it's a seamless experience. And then, in the sake of brevity too, we're also having lots of conversations with end users through some of our partners, whether that's our MSP, that, hey, in 2019, on average, around 20% of our organization, right? Maybe it was, again, help desk, sales, C-level people, et cetera, right? But what is that number now? In the case of Twitter, it's 100%, right? So 70, 80, 90% or more of an organization now has the ability to work from home. So now we're starting to have conversations, not that VPN was bad, but to quote Kevin Costner in the movie Draft Day, it's a new day now. So we're having lots of conversations with organizations like, hey, maybe you keep your VPN, but maybe SplashTop can be a nice supplement to your VPN strategy, because you have customers who need high performance all the time. A lot of these animated films that are coming out right now, from a lot of these big picture studios, those voiceovers done by the actors and actresses, again, due to the pandemic, they could not go to Hollywood or Chicago, New York, or wherever. They did them because of our performance from their house. So we have tremendous success in working with our MSPs to deliver high performance solutions, but also highly secure.
Right. And that was a big issue. And it still remains an issue. I can just remember, I'll say from my own experience, I have clients who call, when and it's not just limited to the pandemic, but that has really been the kickoff for it. But they called and said, hey, we have to have salespeople work from home now. We need to have, our support staff work from home. Can you help us do that? And I can remember particularly one customer with 32 employees. I'm sitting in a room trying to explain to them how to get on the VPN, and then how to access the machines. And then, and I was like, there's got to be a better solution, because, it was super busy when the time hit, because everybody started doing it, first and foremost. Secondly, we had so many tickets come in. Hey, I can't get in. I can't do. Click the button and put your, in my mind, like, click the button, put your credentials in, you're in. Now you're in a new network, and now access what you need to access. But it was, so we actually came up, we went the same solution to get away from the VPN. And it's not, again, not because it wasn't safe, not because it was just when it's easy to tell you and I, or, some people have that it's easier to get them to understand, hey, click this, click that, do this, and they'll follow those steps. But other people who are used to coming in, technology is not their thing. They come in, they sit at their desk, they want to work. 5 o'clock comes, 6 o'clock, whatever time they're off, they shut down whatever they were doing, close it out, and go home. And that's the experience we need to create, from the homes. It's like you said, now it has to be seamless. It has to be just as if I'm sitting in front of my desk, maybe one extra step. So, that really, really came in handy. And it was, and I, as an MSP, as someone who used remote access to service my clients, or remote support, to service my clients, it didn't click to me about remote access for them that way.
Sure.
To make it easier for work. So, that was a big change for us.
No, 100%. And I think really, if you take a step back, right, and just look at it right now. Again, I mentioned that 20% of people work from home in 2019. We're now at a point, and some of you, ladies and gentlemen, have heard this term, the Great Resignation, right? Now, if your organization you work for does not give you the ability to work from home, at least partially, a lot of these people are now looking for a new job to work at, if I can get my words out. Right. Because I think as crazy as March of 2020 was, with, wife working from home, kids working from home, school-wise, dinner table, I think a lot of people have just kind of got to figure it out. You know what? I kind of like it. You know what? I don't have to drive to the office. I don't have to worry about getting home for, baseball games in the case of my son. Guess what? No, by the way, gas prices, they're awful. I just rather work from home. And guess what? Maybe I get more work done during the course of my day. And maybe it is, to your point, not 8 to 5 or 6, whatever, but maybe it is a little bit in the morning. I, take a gym break, I run some errands, and I finish up later. And I think a lot of organizations are totally fine with that. And again, if you look at what SplashTop does to create that seamless experience, it is simple as this. From my iPhone, I can click the SplashTop streamer, as we call it, And I, as the user, can access anything that I'm going to a certain device on. So for instance, one of our big use cases is in education, right? So let's just say, you're a student and traditionally you have gone to the class, and in your university, K-12 organization, whatever, you go to the lab. And in your lab, you have a certain piece of hardware, a Mac, let's just say, on that Mac, you have CAD software, Adobe, whatever. But guess what? Now you're home and all you have is a Chromebook or old PC. So there's an equity gap there education-wise. What we can create is a seamless experience that I use the case iPhone, from my iPhone, I can access anything that's on that device. I don't have to buy the Adobe software. I don't have to buy the CAD software. So then you take even a further step back and you think about, okay, let me get this straight. Is SplashTop agnostic of operating systems? Yes. Is it totally agnostic of any device to any device? Yes. Does location matter? No. So now we're having conversations going back to Disney with any retail hospitality shop. What do you do from a point of sale machine goes down? What happens if you're the hotel and you're trying to check people in and it goes down? And we've seen it, right? Who of us have gone to the airport? I just was in Boston, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and they have a touch screen. So think about that, the whole Internet of Things, anything that has OS, right? Simply as we go out to eat now at restaurants, all these waiters and waitresses have these, tablets that they're ordering. SplashTop through our MSPs can remotely support that. And that is why Disney has chosen us for all the point of sale machines, because they can't afford downtime.
Well, that's cool. I mean, and it's just again, a reflection of where we're going with life. And it's funny how we talk about that even from a perspective of hiring now. And when we look to hire remote techs, I don't have, I can have them anywhere now, right? If I can put them anywhere to work. I can hire them from anywhere as long as they, we can interview like we're doing now, and then provide them with the proper tools, and they can work from anywhere, and is just as good. And then we're meeting the expectation of the client. And actually, I think the one thing that people I've heard and people suffer from is that lack of team or community that you get from the touch and feel. But done properly, that can still be achieved basically through virtual meetings, through virtual events. I've heard some companies do virtual sips and sipping, I forgot what you call it, but they have a beer together at 5:00 on a Friday virtually, things like that. So it's something that we all are making the shift from. And I have a bunch of clients now who I talk to them and I say, hey, what are you doing about coming back to the office? And they say, it's just like you said, I got people who don't want to come back, or they want to stop in every couple of days, but they want to continue the work they have. And my question to them is this: are they still productive, or have they been as productive? And if your productivity hasn't dropped and in some places, some cases, they say productivity has increased because they are, again, like you said, maybe it's not a traditional 8 to 6 anymore, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever it is. But hey, if you're getting stuff done and you're working, I wouldn't encourage anyone working 2 a.m. in the morning, but if that's when you're most productive, you can get the work done and you're meeting deadlines, then it works. Because at this, as an owner, as a business owner, productivity hasn't dropped. And if it's increased, you're good to go. It's so much better. So it's just, it's a new age. So now,
yeah, for sure, Rick. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off though.
No, at one point, Rick, I was going to say that, but I think that, again, I'll continue to wave the SplashTop flag here, but I think that really is a great testament to our performance, because if you are a user and you're working from home and you don't have the ability to work because VPN's slow, because some kids watching Netflix or whatever, you're going to get frustrated and you're not going to be productive. You're just not, right? With SplashTop, we're talking to, again, movie studios, video game companies, doing all this graphic rendering remotely, because again, we can do 4K streaming at 60 frames per second. So our performance is one of our 4 key differentiators over some of our competition. And that's it, because now for the user of SplashTop, they have high levels of performance. And then secondly, and conversely, from the MSP side of the house, remote support side of the house, they can respond to tickets much, much quicker than they could prior to SplashTop.
That sounds good. Now, in your partner program or your program in general for for MSPs. So I'm speaking, I'm questioning you as an MSP right now. I use SplashTop, full disclosure, I use SplashTop. I use it through Synchro, which is our RMM.
Sure.
So, and I've had very good results, very good results from that. I can't complain, and it is definitely not to throw any stones at Synchro, but it's 100% upgrade from what they offered us in the past. So, I am a SplashTop user, but for those who are not, and I know there's a program for MSPs now, and you gave us a little bit of how does that work, but are there any things like minimums or price breaks, things like that?
Sure. So one thing, again, going back to my other point, I've tried to make our 2 programs, most notably here, the VAR program for resellers that we work with, as well as MSPs, just easy, right? And in both cases, I think we've kind of achieved that, right? So MSP program is, again, pretty simple. You would sign up. So if you're interested as the MSP, you would reach out to me. We do have a MSP contract to sign, of course, right? T's and C's, all that kind of good stuff. And then that would give that individual, that organization, that MSP to be a authorized SplashTop MSP, what we're calling a direct MSP. You would then have the ability to sell the full portfolio of anything on our website at splashtop.com. And that would be a situation you would reach out to me. We would get you engaged with sales individuals as need be. There are some items in our portfolio that you can order direct from our website with a code that you don't even need to get sales involved. But again, one thing to waive, again, from a battle perspective, when we talk about support, I think that's the other thing that that's not lose, is that our support is very, very good. And that is yet another reason why customers as well as MSPs love working with SplashTop. In the MSP program, there are no minimums. So there's not like you're signing up to sell at least blank of SplashTop per year. And of course, yeah, when you're talking, larger size orders, right? Larger deal sizes, yeah, of course, we're going to be more open to price breaks, right? We want to make this program advantageous for MSPs because we know the MSPs, have other things that they're doing. SplashTop is part of that. They're also doing email as a service or backup as a service or help that, whatever it is, right? So we understand SplashTop's part of that. So the last thing that we need is to make working with SplashTop difficult, right? So again, we've tried to make a very easy program where you would sign up as the MSP. You would be able to get access and work through me and our channel team, right? To the sales reps. So we make sure that we're sizing things appropriately, whether is it a SOS solution? Is it business access? Maybe enterprise is a better long-term strategy. We do give price breaks for multi-years, 1 to 3 years. So all of that stuff is part of the program, Rick.
Okay, sounds good. Now, because I know personally, as an MSP, one of the things I would look for is being able to resell that access to clients. I think it's we're including it now. We as we've been working on changing our MSP offerings. One of the things we're doing now is we're offering. We haven't. This is a plan that's coming out, so it's not official yet, but we're going to offer 2 remote licenses as part of your plan to remote access. So we're exploring that right now. And the reason we're doing that, and then we'll charge, of course, for any additionals that you may need. But the reason we're doing that is because, again, as we've said many times, work from home is not going away. And, even owners of businesses who don't necessarily have to be there every day, I find them more and more, I'm talking to them on the phone and they're home somewhere, than they are in the office. So, and they still need that access. They still need something seamless, something, that really, and the bottom line is, I'm going to use these words because they matter. They're not very technical, but they need something that just works.
1,000%. And that's exactly what our partner program is truly about. You know what? It just works, right? Because again, prior to me joining SplashTop, I didn't know anything about SplashTop, but I started, how do we have a 93% NPS score? How do we have a $1 billion valuation? How do we have 30 million customers globally? 85% of Fortune 500 companies. Like, wow, why? And they were like, Justin, there's 2 reasons. It's easy. And I'm like, that's exactly where our channel program is going to be the exact same thing. Because I can tell you there are a lot of good manufacturers out in the cloud backup DR space that have great technology. It works, but they're very difficult to work with, right? So I said, we're going to mirror that. It's going to be super easy, our partner program, But guess what? It just works. And I truly think what we've developed, me and my team here, from an MSP perspective, is that what MSPs are finding with us, ones already and ones that are coming on board, that it's a very easy program. We've tried to make this as seamless as possible, and also give you guys as MSPs, some differentiating kind of things that, hey, why, as an MSP, why would I bring SplashTop as part of my portfolio, right? And I think we talked about performance. I think we talked about support. When you look at some of our cost structure versus some of our competition, I would say we're very cost effective. It is very easy to deploy SplashTop from an MSP perspective. And then also you get such a great tool that you can even do other things. Yes, you can access any device globally, but even cool things like you can remote file print, you can transfer files, all these different kind of things that I think if you really, again, go back to my open comment, really dig down into SplashTop through the channel in the area that we're living in, I think it's just kind of like this, perfect storm kind of coming to light.
Sounds good. So as we wind down here, I'll ask you, Justin, is there anything else you wanted to say about SplashTop, that you think we haven't touched on?
I would say, I guess a closing remark, Rick, is less about SplashTop, but more just the state of things industry-wise. I think if you're an IT organization, right, whether you're, Jim and Charlie's Dental, Disney, Target, whoever it is, and anywhere in between, I truly think, and again, I've been in IT for a while now, I truly think we're getting to the point where every year, the CIO, CISO, CRO, CTO, they sit down, what are our projects this year, right? And I think number one, and it won't probably ever always be number one, probably, what are we doing to mitigate our exposure to ransomware? What does our security posture look like cyber-wise? What best-of-breed technologies are we bringing in? Palo Alto, Fortinet, Cylance, et cetera. Okay, great. What's our cloud backup disaster recovery strategy? Are we leveraging AWS or Nutanix or Cohesity, Rubrik, whoever that is? Great. Okay, that's number two. All right, number three, what are we doing to continue to support our hybrid workforce? For me, that's what it is. We are at a point now where SplashTop and this remote access, remote support will be a top 3 priority for every organization going forward, because we talked about it. If you don't offer that, maybe you're not getting the best employees. And then if you do offer that, you have to make sure the experience for your users and help desk is totally seamless, right? Or you're not going to have productive workers. And if that is truly the case, I think the market opportunity right now to sell SplashTop as an MSP is probably never been greater. And I truly think if you look at us and others in the marketplace and you say, why does SplashTop have so much more success over the competition to get all these household names that I mentioned? Again, it's performance, right? Again, it is cost. And number 3, it is support. There is a reason that our customers, when they come to SplashTop, they don't leave. And the other thing I would say from the MSP perspective, it gives you something sticky, right? It gives you something else to talk to your customers about and creates, in some cases, a new line of business. Because if you're going to your customers now as the MSP, respectfully, and you're, again, doing the email as a service, cloud as a service, help desk, whatever, this gives you another way to talk to your accounts and get more mind share from them. And the other thing that I also think that it can do for maybe some of those accounts that you've, as the MSP or reseller in general, have had no luck getting in because you always pitch A and they always buy B. What I would say, don't fight that fight anymore. Right. Get in with SplashTop. They're going to be pleased. And you mentioned it before, Rick. I hear it all the time when I go to these trade shows. I was at AXSKI in Kansas City, I don't know, last month, whenever it was. And lots of guys and girls walk by, oh, I love SplashTop. I hear that all the time. And to me, not even a year of Splash, I'm like, man, people really love SplashTop. They just do. Like, it is. I have never been around a technology that people just love SplashTop. And do you know why, Rick? It's exactly like you said. It's easy and it just works. So I think as a SplashTop channel chief that I am, and working with our VARs and MSPs, I think the opportunity right now to go help customers in this new normal has never been greater.
I totally agree. Well, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, Justin, or learn more about SplashTop, how can they do that? Yeah, very easy. So our website is splashtop.com. My email is just my first last name, justin.windsor, like the Queen of England, at splashtop.com. You also can reach me on LinkedIn at Justin Windsor as well. We'd love to chat, see how we at SplashTop can increase revenue for your MSPs, as well as help you get some new customers. Okay. We'll drop the links that just the email and the links Justin just gave us. We'll drop them in the show notes for everyone to see and check out. Again, Justin, I want to thank you and SplashTop for joining us today and giving us some insight on what you do and how you can help the MSP community.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. Definitely appreciate it. We're not obviously at ASCII right now, but we will be at the ASCII event next month in Boston. So if anyone's going there, I'd love to meet you there as well.
Oh, okay, sounds good. For everyone, I want you to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday to watch the video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged or facebook.com/MSP Unplugged. Like and subscribe, hit that notification button to be notified when new episodes are available. You can take us on the go with your favorite podcatcher apps. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time on MSP Unplugged.